again, and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today, you know what? Obviously, to some extent, I like talking about these records. I like doing these episodes. After all this called, I want to talk about this album. But today I'm actually very excited. There are some episodes I'm just, I can't wait to get to them. And today's one, I'm going to talk about The Who. This is the second Who episode that I did. I think I did their whole discography like 5 years ago. But today I'm going to do this one. Now, this is a little bit of a change in my, a break in my routine, as Van Halen says in Mean Street. A break in this routine. Normally, you know, I bought a lot of records in 2023 and 2024, and I'm still going through them. A lot of the records that I've been doing in recent weeks and even longer, they're ones I bought last year or, you know, a long time ago. This one, The Who, I guess it's called The Who with Orchestra Live at Wembley is the full title of this album. I only bought this 6 days ago. I was in Mexico City last week, and a friend of mine from Mexico, she moved to the United States a couple of years ago. She was back visiting, or is back visiting Mexico. So I went out for lunch with her, and while I was in Mexico City, I went to, I was walking past, and I saw a record store. A very small record store called, if I can do this without sounding like a commercial, like I'm trying to promote them, it was called La Musique, I guess like French. And very small store. To be honest, not the best selection. It's quite a small store. It's all new. Lots of DVDs and games too. All new, nothing used. Quite small, not the biggest selection, but some pretty good stuff. I actually bought 2 records there. One in addition to Who that I'll get to at some point. And but they had some pretty cool stuff there. There were quite a few things that really caught my eye. And the cheapest records I've ever seen, I've been to a few record stores in Mexico City. You can't find anything under 800 pesos. 800 pesos is almost impossible to find. A lot of things are over 1,000. In this store, a lot of things, they had quite a number of things that were under 500. Most things were around 600. 600 is usually my maximum. And that's going to come into play here. Actually, it'll come into play right now. So here's the record here. And if you can see the price, it's 820 pesos, all right? That's about 40, maybe $41, $42 US for you Americans or anybody else watching and know about universal currency. And my first thought was, as I was flipping, you know, you do this, right? You flip through them. And I saw this and I thought, wow, this is, wow, The Who. And I'll get to The Who in a minute, and why this was so cool for me to buy. And I thought, 820 pesos, that's way too much. Usually 600 is my maximum. Anything higher than that, I pretty much turn my head and go the other way. But as I flipped through it and I looked at it, I thought, wow, it's a double album. I thought, oh, 820 for a double album is a great price. And then when I picked it up, I thought, this thing is heavy. And it turns out that it is a triple album. All right, I thought, wow, 820 pesos for a triple album is a great price. And I got on my phone. I have my phone in my pocket. I was keeping it in my left pocket. I withdrew it from my pocket. I put in my unlock code, and I went to Amazon.com and I looked at it. And it was $1,400, $1,420, $1,450, something like this. This is almost half of what it was on Amazon. I thought, oh, I'm going to buy that for sure. And this was great timing to buy this too. Maybe this was serendipity. I think that's the word. Kismet, is that how you say it? You know, when something is kind of like, you know, it was meant to happen. Because just in maybe the day, or I spent some time in my little bit of free time. I've worked 57 hours last week. But in a little bit of free time that I had, I downloaded pretty much the full Who discography. I have all the Who albums on CD. I bought them decades ago. But I'm trying to, you know, get bit by bit a lot of my CDs on my phone digitally. So I downloaded all the Who albums and put them on my phone. I've really been into Who mode lately. And then I saw this like a day or 2 days after, and I thought, oh, this is great. I got to buy this for sure. I also went on Setlist and I checked the set list. I wanted to see, now there are, on this album, there are, I think, 18, let us see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20 songs on here, which is quite a lot. And I looked on Setlist. There were a few songs on here, a few songs that they did at this concert at Wembley that are not on this record. Not a big deal. They were, I think, about 4 or 5 songs from Tommy. They were kind of the instrumentals, Sparks and the overture, the opening to Tommy, things like that. Not really a big loss. I thought, I gotta get this, and very cool. So it was great timing that I saw this. And as much as I love the Who, and I was quite late to the Who. I didn't really get into them until 2003. I mentioned, this is the second Who episode I've done. As I said, I did Who's Next maybe a year ago or something. The Who was almost kind of in a way the first concert I ever saw when they played their last concert in December 1982. It was in Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens. That concert was broadcast locally at the time. I think it was on, at that time it was Channel 79, which was City TV. And I went to my friend Dwayne Frank's house. He lived down the street from me, and I went there. I think it was on a Friday night, and we watched. Now that would be called a. I guess it would be streaming, but back then I think they called it a simulcast. So they were simulcasting live the Who concert on City TV from Maple Leaf Gardens, and I think it was on Chum FM too. Not sure, and and they were doing it live as the concert was happening. That was pretty cool. I remember thinking at the time that, this is what they do with concerts now. They're going to always have live concerts. And also the Who was amazing. That the first rock shirt that I ever had by any band was the Who. I had a Who It's Hard shirt. That was one of these, I think they call them raglan, the black with the 3/4 length white sleeves, like the baseball t-shirts or baseball jersey. I bought that at Cedarbrae Mall. Probably around that time, 1982. Although I never did have the It's Hard album. I had it on CD years ago, years later, but I did have Athena. I had the single, the 45 single of Athena. So this was really cool. And man, as I said, I really love the Who. And I did see the Who live. I won't go too much into it's too late, I guess, for that, into my Who history. Maybe more than anybody, I hope the Who, especially these old legacy bands, the Who, I think their time is ticking. Their time is running short. I don't know how much longer they have. I'm not saying they're going to die, but I just can't see them playing shows for too much longer. Although Paul McCartney is a few years older and he's still playing. Man, I would love to see the Who back again in Mexico. I did see them in 2016 or 17. They played it, which was postponed from 2006. I had tickets to see them in 2006 in Mexico City, and it was postponed because Roger Daltrey had a throat infection or something. It took 10 years for them to finally reschedule that date, and I saw it. But what sucked about that concert was somebody stole my phone shortly before I entered the concert. I was out, doing showing the bootleg merch. Obviously that video never made it because somebody stole my phone. I was in such a bad mood because of that. And it, to a large extent, a great extent, it affected my enjoyment of the concert. I did like it, but I was in such a sour, foul mood. So I really want another chance to see the Who. And what a great live band. And they did play, that night, they, I guess on that tour in 2016 or 17, they were releasing all the shows on MP3. You could go to their website and download them. I don't know if it was like the day after the show or pretty soon after, and I did get the Mexico City show, and based on that, I feel like this live album, Live at Wembley, I feel like it's probably, and just based on my Who history and Who knowledge, I feel like there are probably very few overdubs on this, very little studio magic. I've talked about this before with a lot of bands, they doctor things. I'm sure there were some touch-ups to this. But I feel like it just feels very live. There are some track list differences. I did look at the set list on Setlist FM. This concert was from 2019. The record came out in 2022, so not that long ago. 3 years after the concert, this record came out. And so I did look at the set list on Setlist FM, and yeah, there were some small changes, but nothing major. And it's a great show that they played. Great set list. A few songs missing. There's no You Better You Bet, which is one of my very, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out You Better You Bet, one of my top Who songs. And I also didn't have that album, Face Dances, at the time. I had it years later on CD, but I did have You Better You Bet single. I Can See for Miles is not on here. Magic Bus. It's not just not on the album. They didn't play it at the show. Magic Bus. My Generation is not on here. The Kids Are All Right. You know, some of their pretty big hits, they're not in here. I like that they kind of do that. A band shouldn't feel obliged to play certain songs. I like that The Who doesn't feel obliged to play My Generation, even though I love that song. So I will open it up now. It's got a hype sticker there. And the hype sticker says The Who with orchestra. It doesn't say what orchestra, it just says an orchestra. Live at Wembley, featuring reworked classics, including Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly, Hero Ground Zero, and Pinball Wizard. 3 LP, 180 gram limited edition colored vinyl. It doesn't say what color it is, it just says colored vinyl. Mastered at Abbey Road. I guess I should be impressed that it was mastered at Abbey Road. I know one more thing about this before I get to it. You know, it is with orchestra. A big thing I'll say about this album, you know, when I first saw it was with orchestra, I don't know if I want to hear The Who with an orchestra. I never liked, you know, I'm a massive Metallica fan for going on 41 years now, and I didn't like the S&M or the S&M 2. I just thought they were and I'm an even bigger Kiss fan, as you may know. I didn't like any of those orchestra symphony albums, whatever they're called. Didn't like any of them. I just thought they were too, the orchestra to me, it was like you had, it sounded like you had the band and you had the orchestra and they were kind of fighting each other. They just didn't sound right. This is not nearly, the orchestra is not nearly as prevalent or as overwhelming. It's more like they, to use a fancy word, accentuate. It's more like the orchestra on this album or this concert, I just said it, what is it? Accentuate. What is the word? Accentuates the album. What's wrong with me? And in some cases, you can, it's not that you don't notice the orchestra, but it blends in very, very nicely. I was very surprised. I listened to this record today twice, took it out for a long, long walk today, in between work again, and then sat outside and listened to it a little bit more just to make some notes. I got to do notes because I just, got this album 6 days ago. I'm not familiar with it. But I really, really, really like it a lot. Actually, I loved it. When I took it for a walk, I was really, really enjoying listening to it. And I'm going to have to see if they released a DVD or a Blu-ray or if this is on video somewhere because I would love to watch it. And I do have a couple of Who live albums. I have Live at Leeds and Live at the Royal Albert Hall. And now with orchestra, Live at Wembley. And that's a very cool photo taken from ground level at the behind the stage. Very cool. And I guess it's Wembley Stadium because I can see that it's because there's Wembley Arena and Wembley Stadium. It looks like a beautiful night, probably the only beautiful night they had all year out there in London. So I will open it up now and get to the track by track. It's long, as I said. There's 20 songs on here, so it might take me a while. I don't have too much to say about each song individually as live versions on this record, but I will go through it track by track just the same. All right, and this is, I guess it's going to be really cool packaging. There it is. All right, and I always give you, the viewer, the first look inside it. It's a triple gatefold, and this is really heavy. There it is. I don't know. What does it look like? Tell me, what is it? I'm going to see it in a few seconds. All right, let me see. It's a big, very cool pictures. All right, so we got Roger and Pete, and then Pete and Roger in the middle. Very cool. Pete's wearing his Pep Boys or his mechanic clothes there, I guess. Is that a jumper, a jumpsuit, something like that? Looks like if it were orange, it would look like a prison suit. Very cool photos, and let's see I'm still here. Let's see the packaging and see what color these records are, or this vinyl. You gotta be careful with these things. Okay, here we go. So here's record 1. Great photos. These are excellent. These are really, really nice pictures and good packaging too. Cool. There's Raj. And what color is it? It is yellow. All right. Yellow. That's transparent. Okay, very cool. And I do have a couple of questions about this. There are two things that I'll maybe have to look at the liner notes to this. When I listened to it, there were a couple of things that I had questions for. There's not. I mean, all they list here is there's the track listing and the credits of who played on what and the publishing information. I need more information than that. Let's see if there's anything else on here. Let me see this. Whoops, I closed it improperly. Here's the more. Well, I'll get to that when I get to the track list. There are deeper credits on here. Let me see the other. What is this? A big booklet? Oh. Why can't I? There we go. It's hard to get out. Oh, very nice. Look at this beautiful booklet. Very, very nice. This feels like it's about 20 pages. There's a cool overhead shot. Oh, this is fantastic. This is amazing. What great value. 820 pesos, $42 for this. Okay, so lots of photos of the rehearsal. And there's the big stadium. There's Wembley Stadium. The rehearsals were July 5th, 2019. Very cool. I won't show every page, but maybe you can kind of see this. This is very, very nicely done. Oh, I'm very happy to have this. Amazing pictures. No text, just photos. And credits of who's playing the conductor and some of the other people. Excellent. Let's see what else is in here. This is going to take me all day to get everything back. Oh, you know what? I'll leave everything out for now, and I'll put it all back after the video. So here's the second record. Is that the same picture or different pictures? Oh no, different pictures. All right. So there's that, and there's Roger. Yeah. Whoa! This is orange. Very cool. Now this is not transparent, but it is orange. All right. So we got yellow and orange. So I guess the third record will be either yellow or orange, or probably no, it will be yellow, I think, or red. What's that? What else is a warm color? Oh, very nice. Amazing packaging. This is great. Here it is. All right, let's get the third one out. Total amateur hour here. That I have so much dead time here. All right, and there is the third record. There's they would call her a bird in England. And it is red. All right. And this is transparent. So the first and the third, the yellow and the red, were transparent. The orange is not transparent. Very cool. Nice touch of that. All right, I can leave those there. And I'll leave all of that there for now. And I'm going to get to the notes. All right. So I've got my notes here. Detailed notes. So the opening track on the album is "Who Are You?" He woke up in a Soho doorway. And now this was, as I checked on Setlist, this is the 7th song of the concert. So they opened with, I think, Overture from Tommy. And they did, I don't know if they did It's a Boy, Mrs. Walker, It's a Boy. Maybe they did that. I guess Sparks. I don't know, a few Tommy songs. And then, but on the album, Who Are You is the opening song. If you didn't know that they opened with those Tommy songs, this sounds appropriate as an opening song. And I don't really like that album. Who Are You? I don't think it's a very good album. I'm quite unfamiliar with it. I just remember I never really liked it, but I do love the song, Who Are You? I used to worship that song when I was like 10 years old. Next song is Eminence Front. This is from, Eminence Front is from It's Hard. Never got into It's Hard either. I like the song. It's okay. It's not one of my favorites though, but weird. When I saw them in Mexico City, this was like the second to last. They closed with either Won't Get Fooled Again or Bob O'Reilly, I'm not sure. And then they walked off stage. You think that was over. Then they did what I think was a legit encore. And they did Eminence Front. Amazing that Eminence Front was played after Bob O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again and all their hits. And then they did Substitute that night. I remember Substitute was the last song. And if I remember correctly, they hadn't been playing Substitute on that tour. So that was a legit encore. When I saw, and I don't want to talk about Mexico City, but yeah, Eminence Front is the second one. It's okay. It's a put on. Next is Imagine Man. Oh, when I saw this on the album, I thought I had no idea that they had done this. Imagine Man. I love that song. That's from The Who by Numbers, which is maybe or probably my second favorite Who song. I love it. This has there's strings. This is with the orchestra. There are some songs here where it's just a band, no orchestra, but Imagine Man has the strings that open. The open song playing like the melody of the verses. I love Imagine Man. I love The Who by Numbers. And I love this version of it too. Next is Pinball Wizards. So this is the fourth song on the album, but it was actually the fifth song of the concert, which was two before Who Are You? So Who Are You was the seventh song in the concert, first song on the album. I think these are the only two kind of flip-flops. So Pinball Wizard, I love Pinball Wizard, and all of these versions are great. The orchestra, it doesn't bother me on any of them, like it does on pretty much all the Metallica S&M songs and the Kiss Symphony. I think it sounds great. Pinball Wizard, man, it's a great song. Ever since I was a young boy, I played the silver ball from Soho down to Brighton. I must have played them all, but I ain't seen nothing like him in any amusement hall. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. Love Pinball Wizard. Next is Hero Ground Zero. This was, as I checked on Setlist, this was the live debut of Hero Ground Zero. You know, The Who did an album in 2018 or 2019, 2018 I guess it was, called Who. That's it, it was just called Who. And this was on that one. I thought that album was pretty good. And I guess at this time they were playing it. They probably never played it after this tour, or maybe after this show, but I like Hero Ground Zero. Pretty good song, and that album was pretty good too. Next is Join Together. I like this song too. This used to get played on the radio all the time. When I lived in Toronto, I used to listen to FM, like rock radio, I guess starting in, I don't know, I guess around 1979 or 1980. Join Together was I think played just as much as Bob O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again and Behind Blue Eyes and all the other ones. Now, again, I don't want to talk about the Mexico City concert that I saw. I don't want to talk about that too much. But one thing I will say, I remember when I saw them in Mexico and they played Join Together, and at the end of Join Together in Mexico City, Pete Townsend said a very, very Pete Townsend thing. He said that, the song ended and he said, oh, good singing, Mexico City. And then he added in very Pete Townsend fashion, but most of you were singing the wrong words. I know that's like a posh British accent. Pete Townsend doesn't talk like that. But I'm not going to do an imitation. But he said, good singing, but most of you are singing the wrong words. It's not joined together in the band. It's joined together with the band. So, I mean, come on. The guy's in a country where people don't speak English. And don't criticize him, Pete. Come on. I know he's a very cantankerous guy. He's kind of an angry guy, but I thought that was kind of silly. But I like Join Together. Next is Substitute. Man, I love Substitute. What a kind of happy, fun little song. You think we look really good together. You say my shoes are made of leather. Well, I'm a substitute for another guy. Did I get that wrong? Very fun song. I think my maybe introduction to this song, Great White, did a cover of this song. I think that was the first Great White song I ever heard in 1983 or 84. And I haven't listened to that probably since then. I have to go back and listen to that. But I love Substitute. I think it's a great song. And there's part of this song that I'm going to go back to in just a minute. Something happened later in the concert, like a callback to it. So the next is The Seeker, and I love this song too. I've looked under chairs, I've looked under tables. I tried to find the key to 50 million fables, they call me the seeker. I've been searching low and high. I won't get what I'm after till the day I die. The Seeker is a great song. But at the end of The Seeker, Roger says, after the song is over, he sends to the mic, he says, I was born, he speaks this. There's a line in Substitute, which was the prior song. The first line of the second verse is, I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth. I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth. The north side of my town faced east and the east was facing south. Anyway, so he says in the mic, he speaks the lyric, I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth. And then he says, fuck me, we made a mess. Now, I don't know what he's talking about. So when I was listening to it, I thought, did he screw up the lyrics in Substitute? And I didn't notice, and I went back and I listened to it again. I thought, no, he sang it properly. So I don't know if he sang it wrong in the concert and then they edited it, they fixed it somehow in post. We in the industry, we call it post. It's post-production. I don't know if they fixed it or if he was referring to something else. But yeah, he said, fuck me, we made a mess. Maybe he's referring to something else, but I'm curious what that is. Next song is Won't Get Fooled Again. Amazing that this is, in the middle of the album. And Pete has a kind of a funny introduction to this one. He's talking about how in the 70s there were, I think he called them dirty long-haired hippies, and he said they did a lot of fuck all. He was talking about activism. He said he wrote the song as these dirty long-haired hippies who did fuck all about, while everybody else in the 70s was into activism, the hippies didn't do anything. So he said he wrote this kind of as, I don't know his exact words, basically like a counter hippie song or a counter activism song. And he said, and then as he introduced the song, he said, you fucking do the activism, we'll provide the soundtrack. Or the soundtrack. And this version of Won't Get Fooled Again is totally, totally different, as it said on the hype sticker, reworked. I wouldn't say the other ones on the hype sticker, they're not reworked. They're just a little bit different because of the orchestra. Won't Get Fooled Again is totally different. This is, Pete introduces it as they were going to play it at this concert the way that it was written originally, and the way that he, I guess, envisioned it when he wrote it. And it's just him on his acoustic guitar and Roger singing. And it's very, well, obviously it's very stripped down. It's not like one of these big anthems like Won't Get Fooled Again is. Very cool hearing a version like that of it. I liked it a lot. Next is Behind Blue Eyes. I love Behind Blue Eyes from my favorite Who album ever, which is Who's Next. And I'm sure I talked about it when I did the episode of Who's Next. The line in Behind Blue Eyes, when my fist clenches, crack it open. Before I use it and lose my cool. When I smile, tell me some bad news. Before I laugh and act like a fool. I've thought for years and years, that sounds like something James Hetfield could really, really sing and really belt it out. When my fist clenches, crack it open. I've thought that for years and years. And then they did change it a little bit here. The next line after that, when my fist clenches, crack it open. Before I use and lose my cool. When I smile, give me some bad news. Before I laugh and act like a fool. The next line, and then the music stops. And it's just a kick drum and the line of and if I swallow anything evil, put your finger down my throat. And if I shiver, please give me a blanket. Keep me warm, let me wear your coat. That is sung just with a kick drum. Kind of cool. So a little bit reworked. Did it say Behind Blue Eyes was reworked on the hype sticker? Because it kind of was. Yeah, no, they didn't mention that as a reworked one. Not reworked, but a little bit different. Behind Blue Eyes is awesome. Next is Ball and Chain, which is also from their last album in 2018 or 2019 called Who. And this was originally called Guantanamo. Pete Townsend had a solo album in, I think it was like the greatest hits or like a compilation album a few years before, maybe 2014 or 15 or 16, called Truancy. And he had a song on there. It was a single called Guantanamo, Down in Guantanamo. And they redid that for Who, the album called Who, and with Roger singing instead of Pete. And this was also the live debut here. Yeah, down in Guantanamo, we still got the ball and chain, and it's yeah, good song. I like that. Next is The Real Me. Now these were all, I think, up to Behind Blue Eyes was with the orchestra, or were with from let's see, what was it? Yeah, starting with The Seeker. No, starting with Substitute. Substitute, The Seeker, Won't Get Fooled Again, Behind Blue Eyes. Was the band. There was no orchestra, and then the band came back for Ball and Chain. So The Real Me is with orchestra too. Oh my God, The Real Me is fucking awesome. I love it. Now the Who, sorry, not the Who, Wasp did a great cover, and I don't know which. I think I had heard it before Wasp did it, but I think it was the Wasp version that really made me love and appreciate that song. I obviously I love the Who's version, of course. Wasp is a little bit maybe more. Maybe it's not more energetic. It's more heavy, I guess, or it's more metal, hair metal anyway. But oh my God, The Real Me is awesome, and it's the start of I think about 7 Quadrophenia songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. No, 6 anyway. Yeah, I love The Real Me. And then the next is I'm One, also from Quadrophenia. One of my very favorite Who songs, maybe possibly even my second favorite Who song. I think my favorite is Blue, Red, and Gray from the aforementioned Who by Numbers, which is maybe my second favorite Who song. I have the lyrics to Blue, Red, and Gray tattooed on my arm. I'm One, possibly my second favorite Who song. I don't have an official list. And kind of funny that those are both sung by Pete Townsend. They're not Roger Daltrey singing, but I'm One is just a beautiful little, not really a ballad, but just a very nice song. What's the opening line? Every year it's the same, and I feel it again. I'm a loser, no chance to win. Come down is calling. Leaves are falling, come down is calling. Loneliness starts sinking in. I'm One. I got a Gibson without a case, but I can't get that even tan look on my face. Ill-fitting clothes and I blend in the crowd. Fingers so heavy, voice too loud. I'm One. Love that song. Amazing, great song. Any version of I'm One is just the tops. Next is The Punk and the Godfather. Now this is one that I have to check the liner notes. When I was listening to it today on my walk, I just thought, okay, Punk and the Godfather. I'm the punk and the Godfather. And it's a good song. Didn't think anything of it. And then when I got home and I was listening to it outside before I did this episode, and I was looking at the set list on Setlist FM, it said with Eddie Vedder. And I thought, what is this? I didn't hear Eddie Vedder. And I'm just about the biggest Pearl Jam fan you'll ever meet. And you know, I would know if he was on it, so I listened to it again. I don't hear any Eddie Vedder on this song. Nothing. He's also not introduced. You'd think if Eddie Vedder was singing. Now there are some edits. You know, I would imagine there's a lot of, because Pete Townsend talks a lot between songs. There's very little talk on this album. It was obviously all cut out. If Eddie Vedder was playing here, there's no doubt that he was introduced. And you would think if they left the song on the record, they would have also left the introduction. I don't hear any Eddie Vedder, unless he's just singing backing vocals or something, which seems like it would be a waste. Let me see if he is credited here. All right, they have, flute, piccolo, oboe. I think some of these are not real instruments. They sound made up. Clarinet, bassoon. There's no way bassoon is a real instrument. That sounds like a cartoon, a comic book word or something. French horn, trumpet, trombone, bass trombone, tuba, harp, percussion, timpani, violin. Oh, lots of violin players. There's about 12 or 15. Viola, cello, double bass. I don't see any mention of Eddie Vedder. By the way, it was recorded Saturday, July 6, 2019. No mention of Eddie Vedder. So that will, I guess, remain a mystery. I'll have to go on the YouTube and see if I can find a video of The Punk and the Godfather and see if EV was there. Anyway, Punk and the Godfather, also from Quadrophenia. Good song. Next is 515. I like this song. It's not one of my favorite Who songs. It's got kind of that boogie piano and the horns. Now there are horns on the original version from Quadrophenia. So the orchestra version is not that much different. But there is the opening line of 5:15 is girls of 15 sexually knowing. Girls of 15 sexually knowing. Now, this was in 1973, I guess. The next episode that's going to be in this series, I want to talk about this album. I did it a couple of weeks ago, but then I keep doing more episodes that I want to do more timely. But there is an episode that I did a couple of weeks ago that will be, as far as I know, the next episode after this one that you're watching. And there's a song on that album that I'm going to talk about by a guy or a band, well, the guy's singing it, and it's about a very underage girl. And I mentioned in that episode that, you know, you can't get away with that now. And also Kiss, Christine 16, and Motorhead, Jailbait from Ace of Spades. Kind of funny that The Who is still playing 5:15. You'd think they would draw the ire of a lot of people with an opening, especially an opening line. It's not a big hit song, but still the opening line is girls of 15 sexually knowing. Doesn't bother me, but I would think it will bother a lot of people in 2025. Next is Drowned. This was I guess a Pete solo song from his Lifehouse project. And it's solo on here, it's just Pete and his acoustic guitar. That's it, just Pete doing Drowned. And then the next one, 17, is The Rock. This is not about Don Morocco. It's not even about Dwayne Johnson. It's just The Rock from Quadrophenia, which is essentially, it's an instrumental, which is essentially a lead up or an introduction to the next song, which is Love, Rain, or Me. It's not over me, it's or me. It's O''ER, the apostrophe indicating that there's a letter missing. That letter would be V, and the song is called Love, Rain, or Me, not Love, Rain, Over Me. And I love this song. Pearl Jam did a cover of this. They played it here and there for a couple of years in 2009, 10, somewhere around there. And then they recorded a studio version of it, maybe shortly after that. I love Love, Rain, Over Me by Pearl Jam or The Who. It's a great, very big, dramatic, grand song. Excellent song. And next is, and I guess really the last, but kind of not last, is Baba O'Reilly. I don't know what to say about Baba O'Reilly. Pearl Jam also, they've been covering this. When I saw them the third time I saw them in 1993, they covered Baba O'Reilly. So the Pearl Jam has been doing The Who, Baba O'Reilly for decades. And this was a song that was on the radio. Probably I heard that song more than any other. Probably this listener won't get fooled again. We're on the radio, FM radio more than anything else in the 80s and I guess 70s. One of the greatest songs ever, at least as far as classic rock goes and you know, classic rock staples. Baba O'Reilly is great. One of the most powerful, uplifting, happy to be alive songs. It just, no matter, I think, what is happening in your life, anything bad, listen to Baba O'Reilly and your problems are going to be gone. It's not going to cure cancer or anything, but if you're depressed, if you're down, if you have the blues, you're not feeling it, listen to Baba O'Reilly and you're going to feel like you're standing up at the top of the mountain, screaming, and the world is going to be good. Oh my God, Baba O'Reilly is amazing, and that the end, you know how it dun, 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 and it gets faster and faster. Love Baba O'Reilly. And then the last song is, now this is another thing that I was going to check on the liner notes, but I don't see it was here on set list. The last song is TN Theater from Endless Wire, 2006. Which was the first Who album since 1982. It's hard. On set list, they didn't play it. So I guess they didn't play it this show. But they tacked it on to this album. There is a clear, when I was listening to it, before I knew that it wasn't played at this show, when I was listening to it today, there's a very clear edit from the time, you know, I guess it's Roger after Baba O'Reilly says, thank you, good night. And then you can hear a clear edit in the crowd noise from I guess Wembley Stadium to wherever TN Theater was taken from. So I'm not sure why they did that. You know, they did leave some songs from the concert off the record, and then I don't know why they added TN Theater. I don't really care too much because I like TN Theater, and they did. I think for years they were closing with that, which I thought was a great move to close with TN Theater. Just Roger and Pete and an acoustic guitar, just the two of them. Nobody else on the stage. Thought it was cool. I guess that's why they added it. But it seems unnecessary. And that's it. That's all. So, man, I really love this album. as I said, I've been into Who mode, very, very strong Who mode recently. So this came along at a perfect time, great price, and I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection, and I will be listening to it more. And it's really one of my favorite. I feel weird saying one of my favorite bands because I didn't get into them until, as I said, kind of late. But I was very, very aware of them. But man, oh man, do I ever love The Who or The Who with Orchestra. And thank you for watching Live at Wembley.